Well, good morning, and welcome to Morning Java from Philadelphia. He's Chris Bradford, I'm Dejan Kovacevic, and the Penguins just flattened these guys.
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird series. I mean, we've had 3 games, none of them close. You could make an argument that game 2 that the Penguins could have won, maybe a few bounces. There was no luck going on here tonight. This was pretty much a steamrolling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what we have to start with is the start, and it was about Matt Murray. I'm not a buyer into the concept that the Flyers came storming and the Penguins weathered the storm. The Flyers had 4 shots in the first 10 minutes. A couple of them were pretty good shots, but that's not a storm for me. Nonetheless, well, you look like you disagree. Go ahead.
No, I really like the Flyers start. I mean, I think there was a chance here. You mentioned three chances. These were 3 high-scoring chances.
They were.
If Matt Murray doesn't make those saves, it's easily 3-0, I think, at that point, and then you might be looking at a different game.
That's fair. And then Murray makes the big saves, and he does that time and time again when he bounces back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's 9-1. I asked Mike Sullivan about that, and he just said, it's something in Matt's chemistry, his DNA or makeup, that allows him to, put aside a bad game. And I don't even know that game 2 was really that bad a game for him. But as a goalie, you have to have a short memory, thick skin. Matt Murray did it.
Matt Murray's got a short memory. When you ask him after the game about a specific save, you know what the reaction is.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I don't think he even recognized the save I was talking about, but it was the one on Nolan Patrick.
Yeah.
It was very similar to the one that Travis Konecny scored on in Game 2. It looked like he was going to come up on the glove side, and this time Murray makes the save.
Yeah, he remembers the glove saves. Believe me, he does. Did you know that Sidney Crosby had 4 points in this game? Did you know that?
It was a quiet 4-point night.
As quiet as they get, but he obviously had, starting with the big wraparound goal in the first period, because the effect that has on this place, and we talked about this beforehand, as much as they get behind the Flyers, they'll go dead silent, then eventually turn on them.
That was a very deflating goal for the Flyers, because they thought they came out really strong, and then right after that, right into the start of the second period, they find themselves down, and then from then on, it was just a completely different game. Crosby, we said 4-point night. That's ties a career high. Third time he's done that in the playoffs.
The hilarious part is that Sid easily could have had the other goal, because he went on a line change when Derek Brassard scored on the power play right where Sid would have been standing. The hardest thing on this job, covering this team, is to come up with new superlatives for Crosby and Malkin and these guys. But there he is again. They talk about bouncing back. Not that he did anything wrong in Game 2, but he didn't exactly, bury his chances.
Yeah, obviously you sense his frustration. And anytime he comes here, you know what's going to happen. It's Philadelphia, and he was going to...
There's that, too.
...have another big night in Philadelphia, and no surprises here.
I'll be the one that says he hates this place. He loves winning here. He really, really, really enjoys it. The Penguins went 3 for 7 on the power play, and I asked Justin Schultz, great reaction by him, by the way, if anything had changed at all, and he just kind of went like this, which was his way of saying, no, this is what we expect to do.
Yeah, I don't think anything changed really schematically. Maybe some puck luck for them. They're obviously frustrated by what happened in Game 2. Game 3, they put shots on Brian Elliott. Yep. Always a good idea.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, and
sharp hockey mind over here. It's like the Scotty Bowman of sports writers. They took up more shots. They seemed more fixed on shooting the puck more often, which is something that Sullivan stressed. But in all those power plays, you know what I didn't count? Not one miss. I honestly, again, I'm going to go through the sheets more carefully here. I don't think there was one missed shot after there being 7 of them in the previous game.
Yeah, this was a much better performance from the Penguins power play. The Flyers PK, they look like the 29th ranked unit that they were supposed to be coming into this.
They give up a lot of space, but that's also why it's funny that Dave Hackstall said afterward he was looking at the number of penalties that they took much more so than their PK. Now that to me says that's a coach who knows that his team can't kill off this power play for very long.
No, you give them 7 chances, they're going to put 3 in. I mean,
one of them were stick infractions too, like stupid penalties. Not exactly like old school Philadelphia tough guy penalties.
No, and you kind of expected it after Game 2 that maybe there'd be some carryover from the Flyers side, maybe being a little more aggressive, a little bit in their face. Didn't really materialize. That looked more like the Game 1 Flyers to me.
Let's go for something that's a little bit different here. Let's talk about Brian Dumoulin and his overall play. He had the goal 5 seconds after the previous goal, and it was a nice shot and everything else here. But Brian Dumoulin, Mike Sullivan took the opportunity to talk about him afterward. And I found it pretty striking.
Yeah, it was good to see him talk about Brian Dumoulin, because that's a guy who does not get a lot of attention at all. Obviously, he plays on the team loaded with stars. His defense partner is Chris Letang, obviously the Penguins' #1 defenseman. Dumoulin's always been a guy who's kind of flown under the radar, I think, and he seems to be a guy, at least in this playoff especially, where he's putting up a nice point streak.
Now, I've liked the play of the defenseman 5-on-5 in general, and when you think of Dumoulin, that's what you think of is his 5-on-5 play above and beyond anything else here. And I'm picturing also really high-quality plays by Jamie Oleksiak, by Olli Mata. Chris Letang had a really weird start, but then he kind of settled down to. Overall, I think the defensemen have been fine, as evidenced by the Flyers just not generating much in the way of shots or shot attempts.
No, and you think about before the start of the series, I think the one question mark everybody had about this team, a little bit about Matt Murray, obviously, after the last few weeks, but it was the Penguins' defense. Everyone was questioning, do they have enough defense? Do they have enough depth to advance, even past this round? I think they're showing, at least through 3 games, that there's enough there.
Right, and you're talking about after Ian Cole was traded. I will say this, Ian Cole doesn't make that shot that Derek Brassard made in this game. We love you, Ian, but you're not going to make that shot ever.
No, and that was a strange sequence where Brassard was out there. I think you mentioned on that first power play unit. This is a big game, and this is his time.
Yeah, the Penguins are really stepping up.